Wednesday.
Sorry. Sorry, Phil.
Welcome, everybody, to the Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 meeting of the Zoning Hearing Board for the City of Reading. I'm going to have members of the board introduce themselves and also representatives of the city and our solicitor. So, Tom,
Tom Fox, member of the board.
Charlie?
Charlie Jones, member of the board.
Okay. Bill?
Bill Hars, member of the board.
Phil Rubina, member of the board. Tom?
No, Jeff.
Oh, excuse me, Jeff?
Jeff Catone, member of the board.
Tom?
Tom Fox, member of the board.
Yeah. Mr. Neff, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Tom Neff, zoning administrator for the city of Reading.
I have to make that clear. We got too many Toms. All right. Steve?
Steve Price, solicitor to the board.
Okay, thank you. All right. We have two matters to take care of before we render decisions from last month's meeting. The first is that Triple Deuce Car Wash, a project that we approved approximately a year ago, has run into some issues, and they would like to have their zoning relief extended to for at least 1 year. So I am going to make a motion to extend their zoning relief for 1 year from November 9th to 2022 to November 9th, 2023. So I make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Second,
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, any discussion? All right, seeing none. All right, the next matter before us is an appeal that we were to hear tonight, and that is Appeal 2022-47. It is 641 or 625 McKnight Street. It involved the Reading Parking Authority and a project that they were working on. And they need to extend their appeal until our December 4th, 2022 meeting. And I'll make a motion to that effect that we extend it to the December 14th, 2022 meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, any discussion? All right, hearing none. All right, we will render decisions on cases that we've heard last month. And I'm going to take these two together because I believe that's the way we heard them.
Correct.
Appeal 2022-31, which was 527, 529 Port Street, and 2022-32, 522 to 524 Port Street. Mr. Price?
Is there a motion to approve both appeals subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. I'm just going to make a comment to all the parties involved. There were some issues about some clutter with these properties that needed to be taken care of because they were affecting other businesses. So I would suggest that even if you've got approval, you need to get that straightened out and do it quickly, please. All right, the next was Appeal 2022-38. It involves 613 Summit Avenue. Mr. Price?
Yes, is there a motion to deny the relief requested?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor to deny?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye,
And that's Tom Fox?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
All right, Appeal 2022-39, 600 Summit Avenue. Mr. Price?
Is there Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. Appeal 2022-40, 1129 Chestnut Street. Mr. Price.
Sorry.
What's going on?
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
So move.
There's a second?
I'll second.
second,
Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay. And the last appeal is 2022-41. It is 35 North Carroll Street. Mr. Price.
Is there a motion to approve the relief requested, subject to the conditions set forth in the written decision?
So move.
I'll
Is there a
second.
Any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, thank you. All right. The next matter before us is Appeal 2022-37. It involves 1500 North 13th Street. David Lugo is requesting a variance of section 600-802 and possibly variances of section 600-916 dumpster regs and 600-1603 parking to allow a restaurant coffee shop. The subject property is located in an R2 zoning district within the Heights overlay. Dakshay Patel is the owner of record. Okay, would we swear in our zoning officer, please?
Just one matter, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
because we only have 4 regular members and we have 1 alternate. If the applicant doesn't want the alternate to hear the case, then we'd have an equal number and a tie would be a no. So the applicant has the option of either going with 4 or letting Mr. Jones sit as a regular member and vote.
Okay, I think since we have an interpreter, I would imagine that needs to be sent to the interpreter.
No,
And-
I think Ms. Dietrich, Attorney Dietrich represents the applicant.
Oh, okay.
Is she
Well,
there?
then we'll let the attorney make the decision.
Is Ms. Dietrich there?
Ms.
I am.
Okay, did you hear what I said, Ms. Dietrich?
I did, Mr. Price, and we will agree to have Mr. Jones sit in as a regular member to have 5 members.
All right, perfect. So now back to you, Mr. Rabina.
Okay, thank you. All right. Would you swear in the zoning officer, please?
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, thank you. All right, Attorney Dietrich, do you want to enter your presence? And then anybody you're going to have testify, we will have them sworn in at this time so we can keep the hearing moving.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Rabina. I'm Attorney Barbara Kern Dietrich. Good evening. Good to see you again, gentlemen. I'm representing the applicant, David Lugo. I see that David is here. He will be a witness. And I'm hoping the property owner, Mr. Patel, is also present.
Okay,
Okay, I think he's muted.
yes. Yeah, he needs to unmute himself because we'll.
Yes,
swear-
I'm here.
Okay, we'll swear
Sorry.
both of them in.
Please raise your right hand. Who else do
Mr.
we swear?
Lugo
Does
is,
Mr. Lugo require the interpreter?
no,
No.
he does not, but he does have to unmute.
He unmuted. Where is he?
All right, hello? Yes, I do.
Okay,
Okay, do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Patel?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Dietrich, proceed.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Rubino. I have a bit of housekeeping. Initially, the notice for the hearing mentioned that we might be asking for a variance from section 600-916B regarding the dumpster. We are in fact asking if we could also have that a variance from that section included in the decision.
Okay.
Okay, I don't see a problem with that.
Very
Now,
good,
since
thank you.
Since variances were already advertised, it's not putting anybody at risk here.
Correct, correct. So just a bit of a roadmap. I would like Mr. Patel, I will ask him if he has given the authority for the application. Then I would like to do an offer of proof of the application and the facts behind that, and end up with a few questions for Mr. Lugo, the applicant, if I may.
Okay,
Yes, you do.
Very good. Mr. Patel,
Yes.
are you the owner of 1500 North 13th Street?
Yes, I am.
And have you given Mr. Lugo the authority to file this application?
Yes, I did.
Very good. That's all I have for Mr. Patel. My offer of proof, we're asking for a use variance from section 803B, so we can use this as a restaurant / coffee shop / cafe. I'm sure all the board members are familiar with this property. It's been, the commercial part of it has been vacant for many years. There's an existing apartment on the second floor. Mr. Lugo proposes to open a coffee shop. It's basically focused on the student, the Albright College student population, and is looking for foot traffic. He'll have 4 employees, about 52 seats, approximately 52 seats, outdoor seating if it's permitted. He plans to renovate and upgrade the kitchen and bathroom facilities. There is no off-street loading that is required. Now, the board had a hearing on and rendered a decision in 2017 on the same property, basically for the same kind of relief that we're seeking tonight. We would ask the board, we have included with our application a copy of that 2017 decision. I would really ask the board to consider virtually identical to that application. I know there was a zoning hearing last year in 2021, but that was for a convenience store. We're certainly distinguishing that decision and that relief that was sought in that hearing from what we're asking for tonight for the cafe. We're also asking for a parking variance from section 1603A32, which relates to restaurant uses. There is no off-street parking at all in the property. We're not going to pretend that there is. There's some limited parking on Amity Street and North 13th Street. For the use, we would need probably a minimum of 17 spaces to accommodate the 52 seats, the employees, and the resident of the apartment upstairs. There's no way we can add any parking. We would argue that the variance for the parking is necessary for virtually any use in the R2 district for this property, including any uses by right. As I mentioned, Mr. Lugo is relying on the foot traffic from Albright students. Is not looking to bring in more traffic from outside. He's really focusing on their use. as I mentioned, really, the use variance, I think, is warranted because there's virtually nothing else you can do with the property, given the fact that there is no parking. Perhaps you could argue a single-family residence, but it's a large building, and it would be pretty unwieldy to convert that into a single family, and even converting it to 2 or more apartments would require zoning relief. So we would argue that just like in 2017, Mr. Lugo's use is appropriate for the property, and we urge that the board consider that decision. The factors really aren't any different than what were presented for that. So if I may
Ms.
have
Dietrich,
some.
can I just ask you, what days and hours of operation would it be?
And I actually was getting to that with Mr. Lugo, but
Okay, I'm sorry.
no, I can answer that question. It would be 7 days a week, starting at 6 a.m. Now, in the application, Mr. Lugo had requested staying open till 2 a.m. However, Mr. Lugo, you're comfortable with reducing the hours that you would be open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and maybe till midnight on the nights that Albright has some college events, just like in the
Yes.
previous.
Correct.
Okay, so that the board can consider that those are the hours, the true hours that you would want to be open.
Correct.
Okay. And we asked for a variance on the dumpster, and you would work with the city with that. Because there really isn't any room to put any screening around the dumpster as required. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly what was the plan.
And how many signs would you have?
For the actual front of the store, one
You would have-
sign and window decals.
Very good. And you would work with the zoning department and the city on that sign, what the signs would look like, where they would be placed, correct?
Exactly. Whatever they allow is what we will do.
And the layout on the inside would be similar to what the plans that you attached to the application, correct?
Correct.
And
Yes.
you're not serving alcohol?
No alcohol at all.
No alcohol. Very good. Any change to the exterior of the building?
Nothing.
So again, just you confirm too that what you're asking to do is virtually identical to what was applied for in 2017 and that
Correct.
decision.
Yes.
And you've submitted, actually I submitted it for you, a site plan of the property showing that there's no parking. And I believe, Mr. Neff, I might have to ask you to help me out with the screen share on that. Thank you. And Mr. Lugo, this is the site plan that was produced for this evening's hearing, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And the second page would show, again, reinforcing where the dumpsters would be located and the fact there's really no parking, off-street parking available.
Correct.
I have no further testimony or questions to ask Mr. Lugo, and I've given my offer of proof, so I have no further evidence. Would ask that any exhibits be admitted.
Okay.
Your
Does
exhibits are admitted.
Does any member of the board have any questions of Attorney Dietrich or Mr. Lugo or the other gentleman, Mr. Patel? Any board members have
This
any?
is Tom
questions?
Fox. I have 2 questions for Mr. Lugo.
Okay, go ahead, Tom.
First one, sir. Do you have any restaurant experience, or is this the first time you're getting involved in that?
No, this would be my second restaurant. I actually own the Checkers on Fifth Street Highway, which I'm actually here now. So everybody can see I'm here now. I'm just in the
Okay.
back office of it.
And the other question is, give us an idea of what your menu would be. What would you be serving?
I want to serve coffee, bagels, overnight oats, salads, and fresh fruit. They call it Asiao bowls. Things within that nature, and maybe some paninis and lunch, but nothing where I'm gonna need deep fryers or anything like that. It's gonna be more of healthiness than more of fried food. So it's not gonna be like Checkers. It'll be more like Subway. Healthy.
Thank you
style.
very much. Thank you.
Sure. Yep.
Okay,
I have a quick question.
yeah,
I happen to have a copy of the transcript from 2017, and it was mentioned that it was going to be, you said this is the same thing, that back then it was going to be a franchise. Is this a franchise, or is this something of your own, going to be something of your own design?
No, this is gonna be 100% my design, no franchise.
Okay.
all right, thank you. All right, Mr. Price, any question?
I have none, Mr. Rabina.
Mr. Neff, any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I want to let the chairman know that I was contacted by 3 different people who I think are in the audience who want to make a public comment or ask questions.
Okay, yes, I'm going to get to that. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions of Attorney Dietrich, Mr. Patel, or Mr. Lugo? Just questions. We're going to get to whether you support it or not later on. All right. Ms. Kelleher, a question. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm wondering if Mr. Lugo is aware that Albright will no longer be using the court property on the other side of the street as student housing. Currently, they're using that for COVID quarantine. After the pandemic and the COVID goes away, residential use in that property is leaving. So the foot traffic from Albright will be non-existent. All Albright housing will be north of Union Street.
Okay, I don't know if he can answer that question, if he was aware of it or not.
I was unaware of it, but I don't believe that that's the only foot traffic that Albright College has for their campus.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else? Anybody else have a question? All right. Anything else, Ms. Dietrich? Any summary statement?
Actually,
Does anybody want to testify?
Brett,
Well, yeah, I just want to, okay. We'll do that. Anybody want to testify for or against the granting of this appeal?
Yes, I do. Brad King.
Okay,
you need to be
Mr.
sworn
King, you
in.
want to give us your name and your address, and you need to be sworn in.
My name is Brad King. I'm with Albright College. I'm their project manager. My address is 1801 North 12th Street, Reading, PA 19604.
Okay,
Please
thank
raise your
you.
right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. King,
Let me just ask a question. Is he testifying as an employee and representative of Albright or as a private individual?
As an employee,
And you've been authorized by Albright College to do this?
I have Jeff Strader, who is the CFO, Vice President of the institution.
All right. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Albright College has concerns, and as Linda Keller so kindly informed everybody, that is true about Albright Court. However, with the parking variance that is being sought by the applicant, we are concerned that parking will spill over onto our property, and that because there's no parking analysis, no traffic plan has been submitted as a part of this, we are concerned that traffic will be parking on our property. There will be trash associated with that. And let me also add that if the dumpsters are there and there's no hidden screening or anything like that, we're concerned about the sightly appearance of that as well. But the applicant is stating that he is relying on foot traffic coming from Albright. And as Linda has informed, there are not students in the building for Albright Court if the applicant was trying to attract. And let me furthermore state that the institution has multiple locations for coffee that are on the campus. We just newly renovated Jake's Place, which is downstairs. That was about an $8 million renovation, which has brand new menus, coffee. We have Jake's Coffee, which is above in the student center. We also have a coffee bar down in the Shumo Center. And we have just submitted plans for redevelopment of the library, which we're going to have a cafe within the library that is also going to have coffee, and it's going to be run by our partner with Aramark, and also in association with students actually running this cafe as a part of our business model. So the assumption that this applicant is going to attract a lot of Albright students, I don't see that that's feasible. And also with the Wawa, which is down the street, I don't see how that's going to happen. So our concern is that with this application, the parking, the litter, the unsightliness of the dumpsters there, we're not in support of this project.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else want to make a statement for or against the granting of this application? Okay.
Yes,
Mr.
I
Lerner,
do.
Name, address,
Wait.
please.
Mr. Rabina, before hold on, before the witness before the witness from Albright College gets off, Ms. Dietrich may have questions for him.
Okay. Ms. Dietrich, any questions of the man from Albright?
Mr. Rabin, I do not have any questions for him.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to swear in Linda Kelleher, please.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd ask the board to, if the board considers the approval of the project, I would ask that you reconsider approving the dumpster variance. If you look at the pictures attached to Mr. Neff's staff report, I believe with the change in some landscaping, there is adequate room for a small dumpster at the property that can be safely screened. And I'd also ask that the board consider a condition that requires the property owner and the restaurant owner, operator, to require several outdoor waste cans where trash and litter can be placed.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, Ms. Dietrich, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I appreciate the input from Ms. Kelleher.
Okay, thank you. All right.
That's what I would. $49 for 12 months.
What?
Find out how to get the Hello?
What's the noise? Somebody has something on. They need to turn it off. All right.
Hello?
Is there another witness who wants to testify against
Yeah.
this?
Yes,
And your name is, ma'am?
Linda Soto,
And where do you
I li-
reside?
1512 North 13th Street.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my concerns continue to be the hours of operation. This is still a residential neighborhood.
I don't know who's going to be walking down the street at midnight to get a cup of coffee, but that's not anything that I've seen going on here. That's my main thing. This is a school zone here as well, so I have some other concerns about that. I'm concerned about litter and I'm concerned about parking. We have enough craziness going on here when the people are dropping their kids off at 13th and Union, and we don't even have a crossing guard there. So I have a lot of concerns about that. Foot traffic, I don't know, but I certainly, if I were going to invest in that, I would have done at least a market analysis to see what the feasibility of it would have been. But I'm not, I was opposed to it when it first came out. And certainly to have something open from 6 o'clock in the morning to midnight in this neighborhood is not something that I would support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Dietrich, any questions of that person?
No, I have no questions.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add? Do you want to make a closing statement, Ms. Dietrich?
Very briefly, Mr. Rabina, we've had lots of, concerns about the parking, but because there is no parking on the property, by not allowing on-street parking, you're virtually taking away the ability of Mr. Patel to use his property because it is what it is. So any kind of use there is going to need some on-street parking. Mr. Lugo is trying to minimize that by relying on the foot traffic that even if Albright does close Albright Court, there's still foot traffic in the area. So it urged the board to consider the use variance and the parking variance as necessary to be able to use the building.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that has anything they would like to say or add? If not, I'm going to close this appeal.
I want to say something.
Who?
Mr. Patel, the property owner.
Well, you better
Go ahead,
talk
sir.
to your lawyer first.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I
I'm sorry.
I don't actually represent Mr. Patel
Oh, okay.
directly, unless Mr. Patel has a general statement or question he would like to
You
make.
can take it as general. You can take it as a general because as I'm a property owner, I also want to talk to the first person, Mr. Tom, who is work for the Albright College. He said that there is enough coffee shop. Then why he is opening another one? And second thing, that who gonna come to the coffee? If there are lots of coffee shop, why people go only? The people go only where they got the good coffee and good environment. If they sell a coffee not good enough to their student, they're supposed to go outside anywhere to have a coffee. If those people want to make money, why the normal citizen make a money?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Patel.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I'm going to close this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be present. The decision will be mailed to you. We thank all of you for your participation this evening, and we're going to move on to the next appeal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
All right. You okay, Sandy?
I am, thank you.
All right. The next matter before us is Appeal 22-42. It is 1262 Cotton Street. Yamiri Torres is requesting a special exception and/or variance of section 600-804 parentheses 4 R3 regulations, 600-1202 conditions for special exceptions pursuant to section 600-1603 parking requirements. The overall goal of the application is to allow a place of worship, even though it is attached to a principal residential use. The subject property is located in the R3 zoning district. And if my memory serves me correct, I believe that we need an interpreter for this. So we'll start by swearing in the zoning officer.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Price?
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading. Once the interpreter is sworn in, she needs to ask the applicant if she wants Mr. Jones to hear the appeal so that there are 5 sitting members. Otherwise, she has the option to continue till next month or hear it with 4, but a tie would be a no.
Okay, let's swear in Ms. Herman, please.
Do you swear the testimony tonight you'll interpret truthfully and accurately to the best of your ability?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, do you want to proceed as Mr. Price has instructed, please?
Yes. Buenas tardes, Pastora. ¿Me escucha? She's unmuting herself.
Okay. Looks like they're muted.
Sí, tiene que quitarle, está en mudo. En la parte de abajo donde está el micrófono, tiene que seleccionar. Ok, ¿me escucha?
Sí.
Ok. En esta noche solamente hay 4 miembros de la Junta. Necesitamos saber si usted quiere que procedamos con el señor Jones para que sean 5 o si usted quiere aplazar el caso para el próximo mes. Porque si se toma la decisión esta noche y es un empate, entonces es considerado un no. I'm waiting for a response.
Thank you.
Que sí, ok. Habla a ella, dile que no entendiste bien.
¿Me puedes repetir de nuevo?
I'm going to repeat the comment. Okay.
Perdone.
La Junta esta noche tiene 4 personas. Si se toma la decisión esta noche y es un 2-2, es considerado un empate, que se considera un no. Usted nos da permiso de proceder con el señor Jones para que sean 5 personas en vez de 4, o si no, necesitamos aplazarlo para el próximo mes.
Está bien. Con las 5 personas.
Yes, with the 5 persons.
Okay, thank you. Then we'll proceed.
Gracias. Vamos a proceder.
Okay. All right.
Was she sworn in? Was the applicant sworn in?
You know what? I don't think so. Not at this. point.
Levante su mano de derecha, ambos que vayan a declarar.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Ustedes juran que el testimonio que van a declarar es la verdad, solamente la verdad y nada más que la verdad.
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Your place of worship is allowed by a special exception. However, your place that you want to use is attached to another property, and that means that you need a variance instead of a special exception. Are you aware of that?
El lugar donde ustedes están buscando poner el lugar de adoración o la iglesia está adjunta a otra propiedad. ¿Ustedes entienden que necesitan un permiso especial para esa diferencia?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. What is in this building right now?
¿Qué tiene adentro ese edificio en este momento? ¿Qué está ahí? ¿Qué hay ahí?
Bueno, las sillas.
Just the chairs.
What was it used for beforehand?
¿Qué uso le estaban dando anteriormente?
Hace 10 años atrás era una barra.
10 years ago it was a bar.
Does she remember what the name was?
¿Usted se acuerda el nombre?
No.
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 Okay. Well, there used to be a couple of bars on Cotton Street, as I remember, but how long has they operated it as a church?
Habían unas cuantas barras ahí en la calle Cotton Street en el pasado, pero no me acuerdo muy bien. ¿Cómo cuánto tiempo ustedes tienen operando como iglesia?
Pero en general, 6 años.
In general, 6 years.
Okay, so it's been in operation 6 years.
Ha estado trabajando como por 6 años entonces.
Pero no en ese lugar.
No,
No en
not
no
at that
en-
location.
Well, I didn't
Excuse
hear.
me? Repeat that.
Not at that location.
Okay, how many years at that location?
¿Cuánto tiempo en ese lugar?
Un mes.
1 month.
1 month. And how many congregants do they get on for a service, and how many services do they do a week?
¿Cuántos miembros de la congregación tienen?
Más o menos como 15.
More or less about 15. ¿Y cuál es el horario? ¿Y cuántos servicios tienen a la semana?
Son 4 días a la semana y 2 horas.
So
De-
it's 4. I'm sorry, continúe.
Es por la noche de 7 a 9.
It's 2 hours and it's 4 days per week, 7 to 9.
Y los domingos es temprano.
And on Sunday, it's early.
Okay, all right. And does she understand that if this is approved, she may have to get certain building codes work done? There might be Americans with disability requirements and things like that.
Usted entiende que si esto es aprobado, usted va a tener que cumplir con los códigos del edificio, y es posible que también tenga que obtener el permiso de la Asociación de Discapacitados de los Estados Unidos, la ADA.
Sí.
Yes.
Has she had any complaints from her neighbors?
¿Ha tenido alguna queja de los vecinos?
No.
No, que
No.
dile que los vecinos, la casa al lado está vacía, es abandoned.
The house that is next door is abandoned. It's empty.
And how do people get to the worship services? Do they walk or drive, or do they take a bus?
¿Cómo llegan los miembros de la congregación al lugar? Ellos caminan, manejan, toman autobús.
En la guagua, una guagua de la iglesia.
There's a church bus.
I don't have any other questions.
No tengo preguntas adicionales.
Okay. Does any member of the board have any questions of this applicant? We'll start there.
¿Algún miembro de la Junta tiene preguntas para el solicitante? Vamos a empezar por ahí.
Any board member?
¿Algún miembro de la Junta?
Okay, seeing none.
No,
All
no.
right, Mr. Price, any more questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Neff, any questions?
No questions, but Steve, I looked at the street view and the bar name was Slammers in 2011.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions of this applicant? Anybody in the audience have any questions of this applicant? Looks like there's a hand up on that phone number 1484 and ending in 394. No? Yeah, I know. That's what I just said. Well, they're not responding. Okay. Ask the applicant if they have anything else they would like to tell us.
¿Ustedes tienen algo más que nos quieran decir? No.
No. Okay, thank you. All right. Hearing that nobody else has any questions or comments, at this point, I'll close this appeal. We will issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here for it. The decision will be mailed to you, and we thank you for your participation.
Okay, esto concluye la audiencia. La voy a cerrar. La decisión se va a tomar en la próxima audiencia el mes próximo. No necesitan estar presentes y la notificación va a ser enviada por correo.
Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Good night. All right, our next appeal is Appeal 2022-46, 309 North 9th Street. Arfumo and Maria Hernandez are requesting a dimensional variance of section 600-804 R3 regulations to exceed the maximum building coverage percentage. The subject property is located in the R3 zoning district. Okay. Hold on here a minute. Okay. Do you want to swear in our zoning officer, please?
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Has notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, do you want to swear in Ms. Herman, please, again?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to interpret truthfully and accurately to the best of your ability tonight?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, is the applicant present?
El solicitante está presente?
Sí.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, we need to swear in the applicant.
Please
Necesitamos
raise your right
juramentar.
hand, sir.
Levante su mano derecha.
Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
¿Usted jura que el testimonio que va a dar es la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Would you tell us briefly what you want to do with your covered garage area?
The interpreter would like to instruct them to pause so that I can interpret everything that he says, if that's okay.
That would be fine.
Señor, le quiero dar la instrucción de que necesito que dé pausa para yo poder interpretar todo lo que usted quiere. ¿Nos puede decir brevemente qué es exactamente lo que usted quiere hacer con su garaje?
Pues parquear mi carro nada más y estar cómodo, ¿me entiende?
Just want to be able to park my car and be comfortable.
Okay. Is he aware that in order to do this, he needs certain permits and there will be certain dimension variances and so forth that he needs to comply with?
Usted entiende que para que esto suceda o sea aprobado, que usted tiene que recibir algunos permisos y también va a haber unas diferencias de las dimensiones permitidas. ¿Usted entiende eso?
Sí, sí, tengo idea.
Yes, very well.
Okay.
I
Has
asked-
he- Go ahead. Go ahead,
So-
Mr. Price.
I think Mr. Herrera prepared the drawings, correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
Okay.
you want to swear in Mr. Herrera, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Herrera, I'm looking at your drawings and it looks like there's a brick area and then is it crushed stone that's at the rear of this property?
Yes, let me start by giving you a little bit of background. I mean, the
Okay.
initial proposal that Mr. Arnulfo had in mind, what you are mentioning was a pre-existing broken concrete slab. And he did submit a permit to replace that for a new concrete slab. By the time he wanted also to put a roof on top of that concrete slab, but he was not aware that a separate zoning permit was required for that. When they approached to me to put together the plans for the roof structure, we did it. But in the discussion was understood that it was part of the replacement of that concrete pad. So
So Mr. Herrera, you're saying where that crushed stone is at the rear of the house, there used to be a full concrete slab?
yeah, you're looking at the drawing A101, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Can you screen share that with us, Mr. Neff?
Yeah,
Okay,
And it's attached to your paperwork.
right, I know, but I just thought somebody might,
So that this roof, Mr. Herrera, is just gonna go over the gravel or crushed stone area where the existing concrete slab had been?
That is correct, yes.
So the concrete was removed, stone was put in, that's pervious, I would take it, right?
Yes, but you are confusing me because on the picture that I put on the plan, maybe it was an old picture, but I am not seeing the crushed stone that you say. I mean, that was why they proposed to replace, take that away and put a new concrete slab because that was broken.
Well, I don't know. It's either concrete or it's crushed stone. It looks like crushed stone to me. There's a picture of a car behind a fence. Then there's a picture looking back at the car, looking back towards the fence with potted plants on the left. And then there's a picture of the rear of the property with the same potted plants and the front of the vehicle. Are you
Yes,
telling
it-
me that that's concrete or is that crushed stone?
Well, that is concrete.
Oh, it is concrete.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is existing today?
Yes.
And was that at the property when the applicant bought the property?
The translator maybe wants to ask that to Mr. Arnulfo.
Ask him when he bought the property and what, if that concrete was there when he bought it.
Ok, cuando usted compró la propiedad, ¿cómo estaba esa área en donde el carro está parqueado?
Igual.
¿El concreto existía
Sí.
cuando usted compró la propiedad, señor?
Estaba igual. Simplemente la cambiamos porque ya estaba quebrada y todo eso.
That's how it was, but we fixed it because it was cracked.
And when did he buy the property?
¿Cuándo usted compró la propiedad?
Hace en 94, tengo 28 años viviendo ahí.
In 94, I've been there for 28 years.
And when did they put the new concrete in to fix the broken concrete?
¿Cuándo fue que reemplazaron el concreto para arreglar el que estaba
Ya hace un año.
a year ago?
And would the roof of the carport roof, would that direct rainwater down? And where would that be discharged to?
¿Dónde cae el agua donde está del techo de la encubierta?
Cae el agua sobre.
Okay, may I say something? He's just pointing to one of the pictures. Okay, and also, I am not sure if the zoning administrator has a set of the plans for the roof as they were proposed. The pitch of the roof will be towards the alley and there will be a gutter and a downspout collecting that water.
Okay, and that's gonna go over the far back of the property where the existing concrete slab is, correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
And is it gonna cover the entire existing concrete slab or is it gonna be less than that?
It's a little bit less than that.
And if we needed a copy of the drawing, you could get it to us, Mr. Herrera?
Of course, yes.
And he said he was there since the 1990s.
Yes.
94.
If you want to, I can share my screen so you can take a look of the plans.
Yeah, why don't you do that, Mr. Herrera?
Okay. Okay, so This illustration shows the proposed structure, okay? So you see that there is a slope towards the alley.
Yeah. And that gray structure is that building that currently exists there, correct? That addition to the back of the house?
Yeah, that is existing, yes.
All right.
And this one, this is a proposed building section showing the slope of the roof going towards where the alley it is right now. And as I said before, I'm sorry for that. There will be a gutter and a downspout directing the storm water.
Gotcha. And do you know what the name of that alley or rear street is?
It's Justice Avenue.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Does any member of the board have any questions of either the applicant or Mr. Herrera?
I have a question of Mr. Herrera.
Okay,
He's
go
going to
ahead.
be, Mr. Herrera,
Yes, I am here.
you're going to be sending us some detailed drawings indicating the roof and so forth and the downspouts. But there are properties on either side. Am I correct? There's a house on either side.
That is correct, yes.
Now, would you be careful to show the dimensions of the separation for that carport roof and so forth with respect to the side properties? That there's no, make sure that there's no overshooting of dimensions, infringing on distances. Would you make certain that that's really clear for us when we receive those drawings?
Of course, I will send you a very detailed plan with all the dimensions that you are asking, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Price, any questions?
I don't.
Mr. Neff, any questions?
No, thanks.
All right, anybody in the audience have any questions of the applicant or Mr. Herrera? Anybody have any questions? All right, seeing none. Anybody have anything else that they would like to add? Ask the applicant if he has anything else he would like to tell us, or Mr. Herrera if he has anything else he would like to tell us.
Señor, ¿usted tiene algo más que añadir?
Pues no, nada más quisiera que me aprobaran el permiso.
No, I just want the approval.
Okay, Mr. Herrera?
No, I'm all right. Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you. And that will close this appeal. We'll make a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here. The decision will be mailed to you. So we thank you all for your
Thank you so much.
participation.
Everybody have a good night. Thank you.
Okay, good night. Okay. Sandy, are you okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right. The next is Appeal 2022-43-50 North 4th Street. Dolores Rivera is requesting a special exception and or variances of section 600-807.B parentheses 4 CC regulations, 600 to 1202 conditions of special exceptions. The overall goal of the application is to allow a daycare for 27 children. The subject property is located in the CC zoning district, and the record of the owner of record is 50 Washington Towers, LLP, CO Abdul Milak. All right. Would you swear in the zoning officer, please?
Swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Mr. Price.
I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay. Is the applicant represented by counsel? I don't.
No.
Huh?
No,
I don't believe so.
Okay, all right. Do you need the services of an interpreter?
no,
Okay, thank you. Mr. Neff, is there anybody else that requested an interpreter?
No, it was just case 42 and 46. It was for Cotton Street and 309 North 9th Street.
Okay, well, we thank Ms. Herman for her work this evening. We appreciate it. You do a great job for us. Thank you.
thank you so much. Have a good night all. Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
all right. Mr. Price, you want to enter your information?
I think I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. You want to swear in Ms. Rivera, please?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Rivera, just to kind of start, just exactly, and I know this sounds like a strange question, just exactly what are you asking for? We've got information that this was a banquet hall, that it's a church, that it's, you want to put a daycare there. What exactly are we working with and what's there now? Can we start with that, please?
Okay, what currently used to be there was the church. So it is currently a vacant spot. It is not the banquet hall.
Okay. And what you're want to deal with today, get permission to do, is strictly the daycare.
That is correct.
That's correct. Okay. Are you currently a licensed daycare operator, or are you applying for the information related to that?
I am currently licensed for 26, and I wish to expand into the open space.
Okay.
Are you operating there now, ma'am?
Yes,
So you are in Washington Towers right now, and this is just moving into additional space?
that is correct.
Okay. All right. You
How
wanted-
long have you been, how
No,
long
go
have you
ahead.
been operating there at Washington Towers?
It's 3 years.
And any complaints from any neighbors or any citations from the Department of Welfare?
Absolutely not.
Okay, that's all I had.
Okay. Have you had any issues raised by the city relative to your current operation?
No,
Okay.
So would you be adding an additional 27 to the 26 you already have?
it would be based off of what the state actually approves. So it could be anywhere from 24 to 26 or 27.
So you're
based
gonna
on
go
what
up-
They come in and do their own measurements, and then they tell us what number we're permitted.
So you're just expanding your existing daycare into open space at the same place that you've been operating for 3 years, and you're gonna go from 27 or 26, you're gonna go up to almost 60.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Okay. And what are your hours of operation?
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay. Do a lot of your clients live in that local area or work in that local area?
I would say maybe 30% of them. The other ones are, within driving distance, obviously.
Okay, all right. And I believe you received approval from city council for this, did you not at some point? About the drop-off zones and things like that?
Unfortunately, no, I did not.
Okay, all right.
But you've
Mr.
had-
Neff, can
You've
you?
had no
enlighten-
trouble,
Go ahead.
you've had no trouble dropping off, and your daycare's passed all state licensing for the last 3 years?
That is correct.
Okay. And you have a play area for the children?
Yeah, we currently have an indoor play area.
Okay. I noticed there were some gazebos and things in some pictures. Are you going to expand that to an outdoor area?
Yeah, we can expand that to the outdoor area. We use that in the summertime as well.
Okay. And that complies with all the safety requirements and so forth?
That is correct.
Right. One of our concerns always is security. And since that building has multiple uses, how do you keep your operation insulated from whatever else might be going on in that building?
Okay, so I'm not quite sure if you're confusing with the actual towers or the business part.
Well,
So-
at the business part.
Okay, so currently I am the only business in this area right now. I
Okay.
believe there is a notary that's opening adjacent to me. Since I've been here for the past 3 years, I've never had any problems with either the church being there or the previous business being there.
And there is a convenience store there too as well.
Yeah, that is correct.
Do you
Yeah,
have,
there-
what kind of security do you have? Do you have cameras? Do you use a card system?
Yes, we have cameras as well. And then we also have a keypad that we come in and out. So our doors remain locked the entire time.
Okay, fine. All right. Any other members of the board have any questions of Ms. Rivera?
Tom Fox, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I was a little confused at looking at your drawing.
Okay.
Where you had labeled Court Street. Where are you exactly in relation to that? That convenience store is going to continue to operate, is that correct?
Yes.
Then I'm confused as to where exactly you are.
I'm right beside it on Washington Street. I mean, on North 4th Street.
You're right beside it.
Mm-hmm, right beside it.
So
Like-
in other words, there were 3 spaces, the convenience store at the corner, the open space that you're moving into, and then the space that you're currently existing.
Well, technically, there would be 4 spaces. The convenience store, the space that I'm currently in, the space that I want to move into, and also there's a suite adjacent to me.
Well, then that drawing is a little confusing. I
Okay.
understand what you're saying, but if I look at that drawing and how it's labeled, that
Okay.
doesn't make sense with respect to what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I
Okay.
was just confused if that convenience store was leaving.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't even think I included the convenience store in the drawing because I was just focusing on the suite area.
Okay, so you gave me from Washington Street south, you gave me the 4 parcels. You said the convenience store, and then next to that is the space you want to move into.
No, she exists next to the convenience store.
Yeah.
You exist, and then to the, next to that is what you want to move into.
Next to me, yes.
Going
All right.
south on North 4th.
Yes.
All right,
Sorry for the confusion.
well, you've made it clear. I just couldn't understand that drawing.
Okay, I apologize.
Hey, Mr. Jones, go ahead.
Yes, have you applied for the drop-off parking spaces from the Public Works Department? And if so, do you know where they stand?
I have applied for them and I did speak with a gentleman. He told me verbally that they were going to deny it. I have not received official documentation indicating one way or the other. But it's my impression that they will deny that.
If they deny it, what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, I currently have 5 spaces in the garage that we are able to use. In addition to that, the building, there's a space behind the building, which the property manager owns, that I would be able to have additional parking there as well, probably anywhere from 2 to 3 spaces.
But for parents dropping off on North 4th Street, there is parking in that block on North 4th Street on the east side, correct?
Yes.
Right in front, right.
Right.
So they pull up, park there, drop their children off and come back out and leave.
That's correct. That's
But
what
they
we've
just
been
won't
doing for
give
the
you-
past
this-
3 years.
But the city just won't give you a designated drop off that's restricted just to you.
That's correct.
Have you had any parents take their children out of daycare because they can't pull up and have convenient parking for pickup and discharge?
No, never. I mean, as busy as the street is, quite often there is space available. I mean, there's times when I pull up when there's no one parked there at all. So obviously it depends on the traffic and the day of the week as well. But I've never had any complaints from any of my parents.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Price, anything else?
No, no.
Mr. Neff?
Nope, no questions.
Okay, does anybody in the audience have any questions of Ms. Rivera? I don't see anybody. Anybody want to testify for or against the granting of the application? Again, seeing nobody. All right, anything else you'd like to tell us, Ms. Rivera, before we close the appeal?
Sure, I just want to say that I do run a quality early learning center. My whole purpose was to get our young people in early so that they would have pre-kindergarten ready skills. So when they go to kindergarten, that they're ready and they're not behind. I'm not your typical daycare. We do our academics. Our kids are learning sign language, days of the weeks, Spanish, we do STEM. So there's a wide variety of services that I'm providing to our young children. And I just want to increase those numbers to give other children opportunities that they may not otherwise have at a quality daycare center.
One question, one last question. Do you have any of the star ratings?
Yes, I'm currently a star 2, and I'll be working on moving on to star 3.
Why don't you explain that category to the board? I think they'd appreciate it.
Well, basically what it is, it's based, there's a total of 4 stars. Or I take that back, total of 5 stars. 5 stars is obviously your highest, your elite. That ultimately is my goal. As I mentioned, I've only been in business for 3 years. So will I get to the 5th star? Absolutely. What it is just, it shows you that you're doing the things that the early learning resource individuals want you to do. So you have a curriculum that you follow, that you're not being cited for things, and that you're just basically meeting the needs of the children as well as the families.
And it's a pretty big deal in daycare early,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. And in addition to just the notoriety of being a star, there's also financial benefits as well that obviously are passed down to the daycare, but also for the staff to continue on their education as well. There's also incentives for that. And I'm a strong proponent of education.
And that comes through the state. They give grants to the staff to go for further
To
education.
further their education. Absolutely.
And they also support tuition for the children too, correct?
That is correct. I recently just graduated with my degree, as old as I am. So I can make sure that I can be my director and run my facility accordingly.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Well, I commend you as a former educator. There's a bunch of us on this board that are, and getting kids off to a good start and doing what you're doing is a real asset to those children and to their parents. So I commend you for that philosophy, that you're not just running a warehouse.
Right, absolutely.
And, so I think that's very commendable. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add? Seeing none, that closes this appeal for this hearing, and we'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here. The decision will be mailed to you, and we thank you for your participation and for the information.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Okay, you still all right, Sandy?
I am, thank you.
The next is Appeal 2022-44, 213 North 8th Street. Barbet Industries, Inc. is requesting a variance of Section 600-808.B CR permitted uses, or a determination that the manufacturing use is a pre-existing non-conforming and/or may be converted to a manufacturing use pursuant to Section 607.D.6 dimensional variance from section 808. A loading space variance is provided. Oh, excuse me, I missed that. Section 808, a variance of section 1603, point A, parentheses 20. And to provide the necessary parking on its lot at 210 Cedar Street and section 1604 as no loading space is provided. The overall goal of the application is to allow textile manufacturing, textile machines and storage in conjunction with an existing manufacturing located at 226 Cedar Street. The subject property is located in the CR zoning district. Would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
Swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Has
Thank
notice
you.
for this appeal been given?
Yes, it does.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thanks. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended. And I believe Mark Cuck, Attorney Mark Cuck is here on behalf of the applicant.
Okay, Mr. Cuck, we've never seen you before, right? Anyway, would you like to enter your appearance, and whomever you're going to have testify, we'll have them sworn in at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Sandy, good to see everybody again. Mark Cuck on behalf of Barbette Industries, Cuck and Cuck, 217 North 6th Street, Reading, PA 19603.
Okay, and are you going to have Mr. Luz testify?
I will, Mr. Chairman, if you would care for an offer of proof, I'll try to keep this very direct and to the point, but if we want to go ahead and swear Mr. Luz a while, we can do that because I'm sure.
Yeah, just in case somebody asks some questions. Do you want to? swear him in,
Absolutely.
Please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, if you want to do your offer of proof, that's just fine with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So a little bit of history on this property, more so on Barbette Industries. The applicant here is a longtime manufacturing resident of the city, strongly desires to stay in the city. As you may all be aware, their operations pretty much, they focus around the 226 Cedar Street address. Joe can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's about 7 existing properties that they utilize in their manufacturing business. This is a family business, which again is another commendable part of the application. It's Joe and his father, and they've been operating out of this particular area, like I said, for about 44 years. They've acquired most recently the 213 North 8th Street location, and my understanding it was vacant for a number of years. And they're desiring to essentially move some manufacturing apparatus into that building and continue the operations that they're already existing on the 226 Cedar Street and surrounding properties. So what's nice about this is that between the Cedar Street properties and the North 8th Street properties, there's a Nails Alley, I believe it's called. And so they have openings and doors that they can go back and forth across Nails Avenue or Nails Alley to access the properties. So the goal here is to make a currently vacant and unused parcel of property usable again. We're going to go ahead and show you that the plan that Joe submitted shows that the property essentially is a vacant open floor plan right now, which is kind of unusual. But it suits itself perfectly for the manufacturing facility. It would work out just right without any significant modification to the floor plan. So there's also 3-phase electric to the property, which clearly is beneficial for manufacturing as well as roll door for access. So with that, basically what we're looking to do is add 2 new jobs at this point. And we'll get into the parking in a couple of minutes. So Joe, you've been sworn. Could you tell the board just a little bit about what Barbette does?
We make the gold fringe that goes around the American flag. We don't do the flag, we just make the fringe. We make stripes and trimmings for police and military uniforms and all sorts of smaller, narrow textile products, twisted cords and things like that.
And so, Joe, when you look at 213 North H Street, I'm assuming that was a perfect fit for you guys. Is that right?
Yeah, the location couldn't be better, and it needed some help. That building has been in a bad way for quite a while. And it's directly across the street from our building. So, I mean, like 10 feet away.
Right across Nails Alley, right? And so can you tell the board just a little bit more about the condition of the property when you guys acquired it in June of 22?
It's pretty bad. It had a lot of junk in it that we had to basically clear out and throw away, and it was in a state of disrepair. It needed some work, so we basically cleaned it out and got it opened up, and that's about it.
And so I talked a little bit about the fact that it's got an open floor plan. Mr. Neff, if you were able to share the exhibits A, B, and C that we have, perhaps we can just jump into that real quickly.
I got your exhibit for the deed. I didn't see the other ones. I apologize.
Should be right behind it.
Okay. Hang on 1 second.
So, Joe, while Mr. Neff is bringing that up on the screen share, I mean, this property at 213 North H Street is a perfect fit to basically continue and expand a little bit your manufacturing facility. Is that right?
That's correct. The location couldn't be better. That's the main reason why we bought it, was its proximity to our existing building.
And could you tell the board a little bit about the history of this property that you're familiar with?
To the best of my knowledge, it was the previous company that was there made curtains and window trimmings and things like that. But that was a while ago, prior to my coming to Barbette. Since I've been at Barbette, it's basically been vacant, you know.
How long would you venture to say that's been, Joe?
It's been in its bad state at least 20 years.
And so, Joe, this is a simple plan that you put together to submit to the zoning officer, right?
Correct.
And the point is that the whole first floor is a very open layout, which is absolutely perfect for manufacturing.
Correct. Yep, it's open.
And you pointed out to me that we've got a third three-phase electric here.
That's correct. Yep, and it's three-phase power.
And that would be conducive to some of the previous uses there of the sewing and the textiles and the curtain manufacturing as well. Is that right?
I assume their motors needed three-phase power, but you know, I can't testify to that directly.
So when you consider, for example, the curtains and the manufacturing of those curtains and draperies and things, is that somewhat similar to what you guys do or proposing to do here?
In terms of sewing, it's very similar. We do a small amount of sewing ourselves, but you know, it's the same type of industry. It's the same type of materials and that sort of thing.
And then the other thing you mentioned is there's a roll door there, right? Is that in the back on Nails Alley?
Sorry, could you repeat that? There's a what there?
A roll door?
Oh yeah, there's a overhead garage door that needs to be replaced. That connects the building to Nails Alley.
And so that is directly behind your existing facility, right?
It's directly across from our existing overhead door at Barbette.
So let's talk a little bit then about the employees that you currently have at Barbette. Do you have existing 13 employees total, including you and your dad and any office staff?
That's correct, yes.
One of those employees is on a second shift?
He would be, in addition to that, that would be 14.
All right.
So
and
we have 13 on first shift.
13 on first shift. And so if you add 2 additional people onto the first shift, that's what you're thinking might be what gets added here?
That's what we're anticipating.
And to be clear, this property has no parking, never has had any parking, no matter what the use has been. Is that your understanding?
That's correct. Yeah, there's no parking lot.
And Barbette has a parking lot that it utilizes at 210 Cedar Street. Am I correct?
Correct, yeah.
And Mr. Neff, we did have a couple of pictures that were attached to those exhibits. I know you had those up. But Joe, how many cars can you park in that parking lot?
Like 12 cars can fit on there.
And now we are going to point out to the board the pictures that are being shown right now. The spaces that you see, Joe, indicate they're basically 2 stacked spaces, and those are 3 across. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
So 6 vehicles, which are all Barbette employees, can be located in that first part of the parking lot. And then Mr. Neff, if you could scroll up just a hair, please. Thanks. Then the other 6 spaces are all laid out next to that. Is that right?
That's correct. That's traveling further down Cedar Street. They're single depth spots. Yes.
And I think you took a measurement of how close that lot is to the 213 North 8th Street property. Is it less than 200 feet, I believe?
Yes, I don't recall off the top of my head, but yeah, that's definitely less than 200 feet.
So all of your employees would be required to park in this parking lot, and then they would travel through the existing building across Nails Alley into the 213 North 8th Street property.
Yes, those that drive that don't walk to work. Yes.
And I was going to get to that. So out of your existing employees, how many walk?
Let's see. Right now we have 4 people that walk to work. 4 of the 13.
So,
and then plus the night shift guy, he walks to work also.
And so if you run the parking calculation at basically 1 space for every 1.2 employees, does that leave you with 12 cars?
If we count a car for the people that don't drive, that gives us plenty of parking. If we count everybody as having a car, then we're 1 space short, according to my calculations, which we can use.
And your solution then for, in the event that you're 1 space short, example, if you need 13 spaces, do you have additional indoor garages at 207 and 211 North 8th Street?
That's correct, yes.
And how many parking spaces could you provide inside those interior garages?
We could fit up to 1, 2, 3, 4. We could ultimately fit 6. We could fit 2 comfortably. To fit 6, I'd have to move some things around.
But you could do that if necessary.
If we had to, we could do that.
But you're comfortable that the existing parking at the lot on 210 Cedar Street is more than enough, even for the 2 proposed new employees that you're anticipating?
Absolutely.
So at this point, gentlemen, Mr. Luce, one more question. Your typical hours of operation are, what are they?
7 to 3:30 for a first shift.
What's your second shift look like?
We usually have that 3 to 11:30.
I have no further questions of Mr. Luce at this point. We'd offer him for questions.
Okay, any members of the board have any questions of Mr. Luz?
No, I just a quick comment. I was interested to hear the arithmetic with the parking. I would ask that Mr. Price make that a part of the requirements, that explain it, write that out. So it was very nicely explained, and I think that should be part of the application when we look at it.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other members of the board have any questions? All right, Mr. Price, any questions?
Oh, I have none.
Okay, Mr. Neff, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, anybody in the audience have any questions of Mr. Luz or Mr. Cook? Nobody? All right, then that closes this appeal. We'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. We appreciate your participation. I just thought of one quick question. What do you do with the upper floors of those buildings? I mean, those are nice kind of old period buildings, but what do you do with the upper floors?
I'm planning on using it for storage of lighter stuff, boxes that we can carry and stuff like that. But I don't think we can put anything significantly big up there.
Right, yeah.
That's pretty much it, actually.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
Joe, doesn't your dad have some stuff up there too?
You might.
Anyway, okay, we thank all of you for your participation and we'll issue a decision at next month's meeting. You need not be here. And thank you again for your participation.
We appreciate it. Thanks to all. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Okay.
Good night, Mark.
All right. And the last appeal for this evening is 2022-45. It is 1238 Locust Street. Charles Ray Martin is requesting special exceptions of section 600-609, similar use in the alternative. Variances of section 600-804, R3 use and dimensional regulations. Pursuant to section 600-1202, conditions for special exceptions, and the possibility 600-1603 parking requirements. The overall goal of the application is to allow 3 Airbnb rental units. The subject property is located in the R3 zoning district. Okay, would you swear in our zoning officer, please?
You swear the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Has notice for this appeal been given?
Yes, it has.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll put some exhibits into the record. Exhibit number 1 is the notice. Exhibit number 2 is proof of publication of the notice. Exhibit number 3 is proof of posting of the notice. Exhibit number 4 is the application, including all of its attachments. And exhibit number 5 is the zoning ordinance of the city of Reading as amended.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Martin, are you represented by counsel?
No.
Okay, then we'll swear you in at this point.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear this testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do you want to kind of briefly tell us why you have decided to do this, first of all? And then we're probably going to follow up with some questions about the parking. So why don't you tell us why you're trying to do what you're doing and why do you feel this will be a viable use of the property?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a history with running Airbnbs in a different town. And it's something I found I really enjoyed. And I started looking for other properties to pursue something on a little larger scale. And that's when I came across 1238 Locust Street about 5 years ago. At that point, the property was condemned and basically abandoned, at which point I bought it and began to fix it up. I think I can include, I'm not sure what photos I included about the renovation, but I have about maybe 4,000 square feet done. And I did start doing Airbnb a little over a year ago, I think a year and a half, in one apartment, which is what I'm seeking approval for now. And that has been going very well. I have really good reviews, good clients. We also offer a rental car with the Airbnb. And I would like to expand this farther. This building is really great. It's an old, used to be an old sock factory. I know Mr. Boskov used it as one of his factories, one of his warehouses. And we're trying to restore it to its former glory, keep as much original brick, open exposed wood beams wherever we can, et cetera, et cetera. What I'm looking for today is approval. Obviously, if I would go in the direction of 3 Airbnbs, I would need to get the sprinkler system up and running again. It previously had one years ago. There's still remnants of that left. But in order to do that, that's like over $100,000 project. I'm looking to get like approval that I'm allowed to move forward with Airbnbs before I spend all the money and then find out, oh, hey, you actually can't do that. Also, I'm not sure if my bank would even allow me to move forward with that approval.
So let me just clarify. How big total is this building? How
The
large?
total square footage is 20,000 square foot.
All right, 20,000 square feet. And do you have an apartment there?
Yes,
And is there an additional apartment for Airbnb?
yes.
Okay, so the first thing you want is an approval for that additional apartment for Airbnb. And then you want potentially, before you would expend money on a sprinkler system, you'd want further approval for 3 additional Airbnbs, or is it a total of 3, or is it a total of 4?
So it would be a total of 4 apartments. It'd be 3 Airbnbs and my apartment.
Okay, all right, but you need that additional, you're saying you need the additional before you expend the money or get a loan for the sprinkler system.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, what's located near the subject property? Are there homes? Are there other factories and warehouses? What's the neighborhood like?
So directly beside me is a church and a daycare. That's on my left side. Across the street is 12th and Marion Elementary School. That parking lot is available for use, which makes it really nice because there's often plenty of street parking because people are able to use that parking lot. And on my right side is row homes.
And have you had any complaints from your neighbors?
I have not. Other than my neighbors not liking to not park in front of my garage door. Other than that, I don't have any complaints.
So you do have a garage?
I do have a garage, yes.
And would that remain if you had 4 Airbnbs plus your own apartment?
Yes. So the garage, I'm trying to lay out the garage in a way that would allow the 8-foot corridors and the 18 by 8'6" wide parking spaces. I believe with everything in place, it would allow for 5 parking spots in the garage.
And that would be for your use and the Airbnb tenants' use.
That is correct, with Airbnb tenants being prioritized.
And how long have you resided in that property?
5 years.
I have no other questions.
Okay. Any members of the board have any additional questions? Members of the board?
I have just one quick question. He mentioned, again, the relationship you mentioned about the parking at 12th and Marion. Just briefly, tell me again your interpretation of the parking at 12th and Marion in relation to your property.
Yeah, so it's 12th and Marion Elementary School opens up their parking lot during all school hours to anyone in the neighborhood, which in correlation means there's always plenty of street parking on Locust Street. And my guests during off hours are allowed to use the school parking lot as well, which really helps with only having 5 parking spots in my garage. Now, my typical guest only does have 1 car, so I don't foresee that being an issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Sir, you mentioned you're involved with other B&Bs. Where are they?
Yes, so I sold that, but I did have a B&B close to Myerstown. That also did very well. If you want to look up our B&B, we're called the Factory on Locust. And you can kind of look at like what our heart is for the city. I'm really interested in revitalizing Reading. I'm very interested in bringing these old buildings back to like former glory. And I'm also very interested in providing quality housing for people coming into the city for Santander Arena events, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Martin, I think one of the things that we would really be interested in would be having a parking plan that the city would approve. As you well know, that's one of the biggest issues in this city. And whenever you have higher density use of a property or properties, that just exasperates an already bad situation. So I think one of the things that would be helpful in this is that if you were to get approval, that one of the things you would probably find is that you would have to have some sort of a parking plan that the city would approve of, either internally on your property or figure out how to do it externally. But I think that's one of the kind of the issues that you would run into. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Price, do you have any additional questions?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Neff, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I actually just wanted to share. Mr. Martin gave an updated floor plan. So this one over here is the one that he just sent. Okay, so he has the 4 cars on the side and 1 in the corner. And on paper, that looks pretty good, but over here, this is actually the area. And so I'm just trying to envision having 4 cars, a car here, car there. It looks like these are probably backed up against the wall. I just don't know how that's going to be feasible. And it would be interesting to have a picture of 5 cars in that garage. I personally like the across the street at the school or something better. It just seems problematic to me, but
at one time, this was a factory employing a number of people, or a warehouse employing a number of people.
Yes.
And parking is what it is in that section, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Right.
Okay, well, I think that's one of the issues, and I think you kind of have the idea of what you would need to address and how you would need to address it, because we recently had one where they tried to do some basement parking and turned out the ceilings were too low, and people were going to be playing bumper cars, which is not very helpful to your business model. And so that's something that I think you should really be aware of. All right. Do you have anything else you would like to add for us?
No, just thank you so much for considering this. I'm really excited to grow this business, and I'm also really excited to see Reading be revitalized. So
Looks
thank
like
you.
a beautiful old building.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience have any questions or want to testify for or against the granting of this application? Seeing none, that closes this appeal. The decision will be issued to you next month in writing. You need not be here. So we thank all of you for your participation this evening. All right.
Thank you.
Let's see, guys, do we want to stay on the air a few minutes afterwards and have some discussions about anything or plan a workshop, whatever? And to anybody in our audience out there, we wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving and hope you have a great holiday and stay warm.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving,
Okay,
everyone. Bye-bye.
Mr. Rabina, I'd be glad to host